Okay, we're live. Woohoo!
Here we are. This is happening.
This is really happening. Fantastic. Hello, Georgina Noel.
Hello, Theresa Fowler. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm super, thank you.
So I suppose we start this by introducing ourselves a little bit. Oh, you wrote a little introduction, didn't you?
I did. Well, I guess we'll type that up underneath, or maybe like we'll record it and then insert it with the jingle.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, a jingle.
Oh yeah, there's a jingle coming. Okay, quickly, I'll just say hello. I'm Theresa Fowler, and I'm an author. I wrote Feel Like Shit, How to Stop Being Fat After Losing 100 pounds and Regaining My Health. I'm also a weight loss coach and energy healer and public speaker and broadcaster. And over to you, Georgina.
Okay, I'm Georgina Noel. My primary job, I guess, is that I'm an EFT practitioner. I also use EFT and matrix reimprinting in my work. Studying to be a health coach with the IIN. And I'm just fascinated by all things to do with spirituality, wellness, the brain in general. I just find it utterly fascinating how complicated and amazing we all are. So I think it's going to be really exciting to talk to you and all the people who are listening. Hello. Just about anything that pops up, really. Because I decided that Theresa and I cackle far too much when we have our conversations. I thought it's only fair that we share this joy with the world. And so, I hope you enjoy it.
Absolutely. Great. And we're going to be doing a little bit of EFT at the end of the broadcast, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. So what topic have we decided on today?
Well, when we were talking a few weeks ago, I was reading the Mama Now. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, and so please feel free to.
Mama Gina, isn't it?
Mama Gina. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. And I was reading her book, and it had been recommended to me by a health coach I worked with a few years ago, because I was very addicted to sugary things, and one of the reasons. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's a lot of people at home going, "Here, girl." So
I'm just going to pop in there and just say sugar is more addictive than cocaine, which you and I both know. I don't think a lot of people know that.
Yeah, and we know that because we are interested in nutrition, not because we're crackheads.
No.
Because that could be interpreted in many ways.
But yeah, we both have been addicted to sugar, and lots of people are.
Yeah, it's rife. So I kind of didn't read the book. Basically, I had so many things to read, and then a few weeks ago, I just looked at it on my shelf, and I thought, what's that got to do with sugar addiction? And I realized it was more about the fact that I was addicted to sugar because it was filling some kind of void in my life, I guess.
Absolutely.
And so when I started reading this book, I realized the reason I've been recommended it was because it's all about finding pleasure and finding a way to say yes. And so I thought that just really, for some reason, there was a bit in the book about, the fact that women in particular have this tendency to just kind of look to other people for the answer to questions like, what would you like for dinner? I don't know. What do you want?
Oh, baffling. Exactly. Oh, what would you like to do tonight? I don't know. What would you like to do?
Yeah, and even if you don't want to do it, you kind of go, oh yeah, okay then. And I think part of the problem is that we don't actually give ourselves permission to even think about what we would want.
Exactly.
And there are so many reasons why. And for me, I think one of the reasons is, maybe a rejection, that you don't want to get rejected. So if I were to say, I'd love to go and see the latest Disney film, and my boyfriend would say, well, I kind of want to go and see this action movie. Not that he would, I'm totally and I just, okay, cool. And then you end up feeling kind of a little bit empty and a little bit like this isn't
disappointed.
Really my experience. Yeah.
Disappointed. We carry a lot of disappointment. That feeling is like, oh. It's not what I was expecting.
And being unsatisfied and unfulfilled, two of the biggest things that come up, like when I work with weight loss clients, I don't know about you, but this idea of not being satisfied and not being fulfilled around food, but in life in general.
Absolutely, absolutely. This food, whether it's a sugar addiction or a junk food addiction, or it's always about, or generally about filling a void because you're not happy in yourself, because you don't say yes to yourself enough.
And this is one of the big things. So the breakthrough came for me, as peculiar as this may seem. My boyfriend and I went to see one of my favorite comedians, Ross Noble, in Brighton, which is one of my favorite cities, or like towns, whatever you want to call it.
I think it's a city now.
Yeah, I think it counts.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't have that scary kind of anonymous city feel about it. So, but when we were there, I thought, oh, okay, I'm gonna try this on for size. And so we went to Yo Sushi, and we were sitting there, and all the food's going around, and I'm thinking, well, look at those pancakes, and I was thinking right now. And so it kept going round and round. I was like, oh, but I can't. And then I realized the reason I wasn't just reaching out and going, yeah, I'll have some of that, was because I'd made this rule for myself. No one else has made this rule for me, maybe kind of conditioning parents and whatever, but actually I'm a grown up now, kind of make my own rules.
Absolutely.
And I was like, why am I not eating this? And I realized it was because I hadn't finished my savory food. So I couldn't. I wasn't ready to move.
You must eat your food before you have dessert.
Yeah, and so as soon as I realized that, I kind of had a little chuckle to myself and thought, well, I won't say what I thought because it's rude. And it began with the word F and ended with this. And so I thought, well, I'm going to eat the pancake, and I did. And just that one simple act meant that I had the pancake, and then I went back to the savory, and then afterwards I thought, I'm kind of good now. Like, I don't need any more of the sweet stuff that's going around, because I had it when I wanted it. I enjoyed it. I gave myself permission, said yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just this amazing. It's like this. It's like this is what life should be like.
Exactly. You said yes to yourself.
Yeah. So how about you? Tell me, when has that happened to you?
Yeah, kind of a similar moment. I remember, doing the food shopping, and I wanted chocolate, because you do sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And I remember going, I really want chocolate now. I want chocolate right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to wait until I get home and fix my dinner and blah, blah, blah. But it was the same kind of thing, going, oh yeah, but you have to have your dinner first. Then you can have your chocolate. It's like that whole reward system thing. We're not dogs.
Right.
We're not dogs. And it's the same sort of thing. Once I didn't even eat the whole bar. I had a couple of pieces, and it was just like, oh, that was what I wanted right now, and I'm done right now.
So was that kind of since you've been on your health journey? Or
Absolutely.
Was that oh, it was.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. It was
So
dark organic. It was dark organic chocolate. It must be said.
Are you saying you can still eat chocolate even if you're a healthy person?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's a revelation.
Yes. We are human. We are human. I mean, there was a period of time when I was losing all that weight, 100 pounds altogether. There was a time when I was losing all that weight when I had to steer clear of it, because I had to give my body a chance to get rid of all the shit, for want of a better word. But yeah, of course I still have chocolate. I still have a sweet tooth. It's just in control now.
So what do you call in control?
In control, right. Well, of course, if I end up going out for an evening or something and have a few too many glasses of wine, 3 or 4, then it's been like, oh, right, I fancy a bit more sweet the next day because there's more sugar in my blood system. And then I'll go, okay, well, I don't beat myself up about it anymore. I have what I want. However, I keep it under control because at the next meal, I will have to have a green juice, or I'll have to have a nice salad with lots of sauerkraut and raw veggies. And do you know what I mean? I keep it under control. I don't allow a bad meal to turn into a bad day, to turn into a bad week, to turn into a bad month.
And that's something I've really struggled with, for sure, is that kind of, you know, as you know, that idea of, oh, well, I've had a brownie now, so it's all over, so forget it. And the interesting thing for me is, since doing a matrix imprinting session recently, about 3 weeks ago, I just made a decision. I was studying, I'm doing some study on my nutrition course, and it was talking about candidiasis.
Okay, yes, absolutely.
And so for those of us who don't know what that is, it's, you know, when you've got these evil little critters in your body, and we've all got them, but they just want sugar. They want to eat sugar, and the more sugar you give them, the more powerful they get. And I'm sure Theresa, whether today or in a future episode, will tell us more about these little critters that live inside us.
Yeah, we can do a candidiasis episode, definitely.
Yeah, because they are.
It's also known as Candida albicans. Yeah.
And some women may know of this term because of the lovely symptoms we get thrush.
Yeah, that's
Let's not beat around the bush.
Yeah.
So, pardon the pun. But you know, it's like, but it's a killer. It's awful. You know, we've all suffered from it at some point.
Yeah.
And you know, as I've gotten older, it doesn't really happen to me as much anymore. But the candidiasis actually, I find, exhibits in different ways. So like I get itchy skin, or, you know, just weird things like that. And actually they can,
when people have when people have that constant bloating, that's candidiasis. Definitely.
And this is it, right? So I was like, okay, having looked at this and just seen this one short lecture on it, I kind of went, oh no. And
everything started falling into place.
Yeah, and so it's been 2 weeks now since I've had new refined sugar. So for me,
nice one.
But the best thing is, it's been so easy because I've done this work in the matrix about, you know, all these emotions that I was trying to eat through and like shove down. And now that I've kind of dealt with more of those emotions, I just feel like it's actually really easy. And the biggest change is that Friday night I had a gig, because I also sing, and I had a gig and everyone in the room was having wine. And I thought, I don't even drink really, but I just thought, you know what? It's a social thing and I want to be part of that. And that's one of the things for me about food, is the social element. You know, my family are very social around food, and that's pretty much all we do together is we eat, and then it's like, okay, I'll see you later. So it's kind of like ingrained. And so I just had 2 sips of white wine, and then I was like, I'm kind of done now. But to me, I still feel like I'm sugar-free, because the sugar addiction part for me is so psychological. And it's not about having sugar every now and then. It's about needing sugar all the time.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for me, to be able to just have a couple of sips of wine and then go, yeah, I don't need chocolate now or anything else. That was enough. And I'm done. And since Friday, I haven't, you know, we're only on Sunday now, but usually what would have happened is I'd have got home that night and been like, whole nut, give me the dairy milk, you know, but I haven't done that, and I haven't felt the need to, so it's been great.
Fantastic. Have you felt that you've kind of lifted a brain fog as well?
Yeah, and I've definitely dropped a few pounds. I think, I mean, I'm not attached to what the scale says, but sometimes I like to just keep a little gauge on it, you know. I always say to my personal trainer, if the numbers go up, I ignore them. If they go down, I celebrate. So
like, but you do know muscle weighs more than fat.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Like this size of fat, this size of muscle would be like a whole giant plate full of fat.
And this is it. But I mean, like in the 10 days that I took in between, I'd lost, like on the scales, I'd lost 5 pounds.
Yeah.
But I've been exercising as well. So you think, well,
so you've gained muscle. Easy? You've gained muscle and you're still eating, and you've lost weight.
It's a no-brainer.
I'd say that's a win-win. I would say that's a win-win. And that's just from cutting out sugar. I mean, there's been a lot in the press recently about how detrimental sugar is, but I don't think people are kind of putting the two and two together.
What, is in sugar and weight loss, or?
Yeah, exactly. Sugar and weight loss, and the fact that there's sugar and enough people don't read the labels. They don't even realize that like ketchup is basically sugar with a bit of tomato juice in it.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So like even savory foods, anything savory that you buy that comes in a packet has got sugar in it. It's ridiculous.
And it's pretty difficult because my boyfriend does most of the cooking. I know, ladies. Gosh.
You're very lucky. You are very lucky.
Right here in Jersey, I tell you.
Exactly.
Living in luxury. But because he does a lot of the cooking, so for instance, he might use a stock that might have some sugar in it, or he might put a glass of wine into a meal. But to me, that's nothing compared to the amount of shite that I was eating before. And I'm not just, and a friend of mine said to me the other week, she was like, oh yeah, I don't, you're not fat, you're not, and I was like, no, I know, but I'm bigger than I feel comfortable. And that's what it's about for me. It's about feeling comfortable, about feeling healthy and feeling agile and energetic. It's not about fitting into a size 0 pair of jeans. It's not about that at all for me.
And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be about fitting in, because all the sizes in every shop are different anyway. And what I tell people, because they're like, oh, but I want to fit into a size 12. And I was like, okay, but do you feel more comfortable in a size 14? Well, yes. Okay, then chop the label out, because nobody else is going to know.
It's like X over the 4.
Exactly. Nobody else is going to know. But if you feel comfortable in whatever you're wearing, you'll feel more confident. Nobody knows what size you're in. Nobody cares, really.
And I was actually talking to a friend yesterday, and I was saying, it's funny. I was one of the things that's really changed for me recently with all the work that I've been doing, again with EFT and NLP and stuff. It's just, I really noticed that I felt on Friday, I just felt wicked. I was like, yeah, this is a good day. I've been to the gym. I'd like walk the dogs. I was like, yeah. And I felt like about 6 foot tall. And like, I felt like freaking Cindy Crawford. I was like, oh yeah, walking down the street, like loving life, feeling great. And then I caught sight of myself in a window, and I was like, oh my God, I'm 5'4" and slightly overweight. And I just looked at myself, and I thought, I do not look how I feel inside. But then I realized
that was your brain.
Yes.
Twisting round what you actually felt, because what you feel is the most important thing.
And this is it. And the most awesome thing about it is that previously, say a month ago even, that recently, I would have looked in that window and gone, oh, and it would have ruined the rest of my day.
Exactly.
But actually, I looked at it the other day, because I was just feeling so good. I thought, you know what, screw it. People see what I show them. They see what I resonate on a vibrational level. They're not looking at me physically, really. They see what I want them to see.
Exactly, because I was just going to say on that note, we've all been there, I'm sure, where we've been like not particularly thinking that we look great, but have been chatted up by some cute guy. It's happened, hasn't it? Like, why is he chatting me up? Oh my God, I look horrible. Blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, but he sees what you're radiating. That's the whole point. How you feel inside is the most important thing. And this gets down to the whole weight loss thing as well, because it was when I switched how I was feeling in myself, when I started loving myself, that's when it became easy.
And so here's a big question for you that will probably be a podcast in itself, but so what would for our listeners who are sitting there thinking, yeah, this is all well and good, girls, you sound like you're kind of on this path, and yeah, whatever, like it's so easy. So if you could give 3 tips, I'm really putting Theresa on the spot here. If you give 3 tips to people listening today that they could implement, that are surefire ways to get them started on this path to what we're calling self-love.
Self-love. Okay. Self-love. Number one would be, okay, this is going to be controversial.
It's okay, it's what we're about. Do it.
It is. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Turn off the TV. Or especially turn off the news. Turn off the news. The news is just a mainstream media way of keeping you scared about everything. Yeah, turn off the news. Stop feeding your brain with fear, because it just keeps you paralyzed, and then you don't do anything because you just worry about everything being so horrible. Yeah. So
Okay, awesome.
that's number
I
one.
totally agree. Number one. So turn off your TV, or at least turn off the news.
Or at least turn off the news. Yeah.
If you can't live without the Kardashians, then at least stop watching the news.
Exactly.
At least they've got good bums, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so number one's turn off the news. Number two would be drink more water. Every single person that I see in my practice, both with energy work and weight loss work, nobody drinks enough water. So if you're not drinking enough water, that means you're dehydrated, which means that you're automatically feeling like crap without even anything else on top of that. And yeah, most people need at least 2.5 liters of water a day. And that's not coffee. That's not black tea. That's herbal tea or water. And you can make water taste good. You know, you can chop up some cucumbers and put some mint and squeeze a lemon and put that in a jug of water and make it taste nice. You know, water, I love water now, but you know, I used to survive on 3 liters of Diet Coke a day, and that got me nowhere. Yeah, that just got me a lot of issues. We can do a whole podcast on that as well. Number three, write down your goals. What do you actually want to become? What do you actually want to become? Like write it down and sort of pad it out and think about it and visualize what you want to look like or be.
And how you want to feel as well. How you want to
and
feel.
how you want to feel, yeah, absolutely. And write it down and look at that every day, even if you're only thinking about it for a couple of minutes a day. You're implanting it into your brain, and that starts off a process.
And one of the questions I would always ask people when we do stuff like this, you know, well, what do you actually want? A lot of people will immediately tell you, well, I want to lose weight. I don't want to feel this way anymore, and I don't want that. And you're like, no. Forget about what you don't want.
Exactly. What do you want?
Because as Paul McKenna, one of my heroes, would say, you get more of what you focus on. So if you're so busy focusing on wanting to lose weight, your brain's just focusing on the weight that you need to lose, rather than
the word lose. It kind of propels a lack mentality.
Yeah. Whereas if you feel like I want to be healthier and slimmer, then your brain is going, oh, okay, so I'm going to look for ways for you to feel healthier, slimmer, fitter, whatever it is you want to be.
Exactly.
And here, this kind of brings us nicely back to where we started, which was about saying yes. Yeah. So when you look at your goals and you look at, okay, what do I want? It's actually giving yourself permission to go there and say, yes, that's possible for me. And yes, I deserve that, you know?
Absolutely.
So I feel like that's really important part of it is just, we're not saying to you, go out there and, you know, if you write this stuff down, look at it every day, immediately you're going to wake up tomorrow and be a size 8 or 6.
No, this is a process. It's a process.
And those goals are going to change.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you have any sort of issue that you're dealing with, regardless of whether it's weight loss or like too much stress or whatever issue you're dealing with, it didn't happen overnight. So there's no way it's going to go away overnight. It's a process, and you have to come to terms with that as well. There's no quick fixes. If quick fixes worked, everybody would be doing them, but that's not the case.
I mean, I know EFT is quick for things. It can be.
Yes, it can be. Yeah.
With things like weight loss, because there's so much tied up in our relationship with food. It's not the food, as you well know.
Yeah,
It's what are we eating for? What are we replacing? What do we feel we haven't got in our life? And once we start to look at that stuff, it's just peeling back the layers of the onion. And so, yes, you might be able to deal with one issue quite quickly with something like EFT, but other stuff might pop up that you then need to deal with. And it's really about how dedicated are you to being your best self and your healthiest self.
Your healthiest self. That's what this is all about, being your healthiest self. Because health is so important. I truly believe, because I've been there, you know, unless you have your health, you're only just existing. You're not living. And we're here to live. It's our birthright to be here, to live and enjoy life. And if you're just existing and miserable because of whatever is bothering you, you've got to change something. And change is scary, but it's worth it. Change is really scary, but it's worth it.
So I feel like that's a really good place to kind of leave people with this idea that, you know, it is just about being your healthiest you, being the best that you can be. And we really just want you to be as happy as you possibly can be. So we hope that you'll stick with us, because we're going to have lots of interesting things coming up over the next few weeks and months.
Indeed, indeed. Are we going to do a little bit of tapping before we go?
Yeah, we can certainly finish off with a bit of tapping.
Ooh, so fantastic. What are we going to tap on?
Well, having what we've spoken about, I was thinking maybe just this idea about giving ourselves permission. So maybe looking at releasing some of the resistance around why we might not want to do that. And yeah, so we're just going to go ahead. And for people who are just listening to this audio, I've got a tapping video which we'll post alongside this podcast, so that you can just click on that. It's on my website, so you can just go and have a look at that, so you know where the tapping points are. For those of you who are actually watching, you'll be able to see us, so you haven't got a problem. The first place, I will tell you where we're going to be tapping. So if you are just listening to this, that you can follow along and use the diagram. We'll use the video on my website as a guide.
Quickly, could you just tell people what tapping is, just really quickly, because they'll be going, tapping? What is this? What is this?
Tapping is another name for EFT, which is the emotional freedom technique. I like to describe it as acupuncture for the emotions, but without the needles. So those of you who are scared of needles, stand down. I think you panic right here. So we tap on various meridian points around the body. And I like to think of it as like, if you imagine that there's this energy circuitry running around your body. So when we suffer a trauma or these negative beliefs or ideas that we have, it's almost like someone's tied a knot in the circuit, so the energy can't quite flow through it properly. So by tapping, it's just, we're like giving it a little shuffle and just loosening that knot, and sometimes getting rid of the knot completely, so that the energy can move again and we can start to think in a more positive way, a more helpful way. How about you? Is there any other way you might like to describe it?
No, that's I quite like that. That works. I like acupuncture without the needles. That's good. But I love how it's like so instant usually. I mean, obviously things come up, but like, you know, for instance, I use it when I do have sugar cravings, because sometimes they do happen. And just like, oh, tap on the craving. Oh, yeah, go on. I don't need sugar now.
And actually, that might be a good thing for us to do in a couple of episodes' time.
We'll do it.
You know, maybe you and I have some chocolate or something that we can actually tap on and show people how that might work for them, so they can use it.
Nice. Let's do it.
Awesome. Okay, so today we're just going to do a little bit of something that's just hopefully going to help you with loosening up the ideas of looking to other people for, you know, for their approval, or for like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Panic. And just relax and go, actually, what do I want to do? And that it's okay. Yeah. So the first place that we're going to tap is the karate chop point, which is just at the side of the hand. It's the little squidgy, fleshy part at the side of the hand. We're going to start there. And I'll tell you the other points quickly. You've got top of the head. We've got 3 points around the eye, inner eyebrow, outer eyebrow, under the eye, under the nose, chin, collarbone, under the arm. And then we're going to tap the wrist together at the end as well.
Oh, nice.
So, I tell you, at that
Oh,
point,
nice. Yeah.
cheeky little wrist tap. Why not? Go
Cheeky
on.
little wrist tap, yeah.
So we're just going to do probably around 3 rounds. First thing to do would probably be to just take a moment, take a nice deep breath, and just check in with this idea of saying yes. How does it make you feel? So for all you people at home who are listening, just how does it make you feel when you think about saying yes to what you want? Does it make you feel uneasy? Maybe you feel excited, and that would be great. But if there's any feelings of discomfort around the idea of saying yes, just note those. Maybe give them a rating 0 to 10, how intense they are. And then when you're ready, just going to tap along. So just repeat after me. Even though sometimes I struggle to say yes.
Sometimes I struggle to say yes.
To the things that I want to do.
To the things that I want to do.
But I have no problem saying yes for other people.
That I have no problem saying yes for other people.
Always willing to help other people out.
I'm always willing to help other people out.
Even if it makes me too tired and sick to do my own things.
Even if it makes me too tired and sick to do my own things.
But I'm okay.
But I'm okay.
And I accept myself anyway.
And I accept myself anyway.
Even though
I
find it really hard to say yes to myself.
I find it really hard to say yes to myself.
Because I've been conditioned to look to other people for the answers.
Because I've been conditioned to look to other people for the answers.
But I'm okay.
I'm okay.
I'm safe.
I'm safe.
And I accept myself anyway.
And I accept myself anyway.
Even though I really struggle to say yes to myself.
I really struggle to say yes to myself.
Maybe because I haven't really asked myself what I want.
Maybe because I haven't really asked myself what I want.
But that's okay.
But that's okay.
I accept myself anyway.
I accept myself anyway.
Moving to the top of the head. I struggle to say yes to myself.
I struggle to say yes to myself.
Inner eyebrow. I don't know why that is really.
I don't know why that is really.
Side of the eye. Maybe I've just been taught to be this way.
Maybe I've just been taught to be this way.
Under the eye, which really sucks for me.
Which really sucks for me.
Under the nose. I wonder what it's like to say yes to myself.
I wonder what it's like to say yes to myself.
The chin makes me feel a bit uncomfortable.
It makes me feel a bit uncomfortable.
Collarbone. What if it's the wrong answer?
What if it's the wrong answer?
Under the arm. What if I pick the wrong thing?
What if I pick the wrong thing?
Wrists. What if I make the wrong decision and then people judge me for it?
What if I make the wrong decision and people judge me for it?
Top of the head. Maybe people won't judge me.
Maybe people won't judge me.
Inner eyebrow. But I might judge myself.
But I might judge myself.
Side of the eye. What if I change my mind?
What if I change my mind?
Under the eye. I made a decision and then I changed my mind.
I made a decision and then I changed my mind.
Under the nose. Oh no!
Oh no!
And then on the chin. What will people think?
What will people think?
Collarbone. Maybe I got chastised for that as a child.
Maybe I got chastised for that as a child.
Like all the times my parents said to me, you won't like that.
Like all the times my parents said to me, you won't like that.
And I argued to get it anyway, and they were right.
And I argued to get it anyway, and they were right.
And then I got in trouble.
And then I got in trouble.
But guess what, people?
But guess what, people?
I'm a grown-up now.
I'm a grown-up now. For sure.
I make my own rules now.
I make my own rules now.
It's empowering to make my own rules.
It's empowering to make my own rules.
I don't need anyone to tell me what to do.
I don't need anyone to tell me what to do.
I choose to say yes to me.
I choose to say yes to me.
It's safe to say yes to me.
It's safe to say yes to me.
I'm super excited about saying yes to me.
I'm super excited about saying yes to me.
And now just take a nice deep breath. And I realized I stopped shouting out the tapping points there. But basically, the first time I told you what they were, and each time you just continue to move on. So every time I said something, I moved on to the next point. So just hop over to the website and you can see the diagram and follow that.
Yeah, that was fantastic, Georgina. I'm feeling all tingly and lovely now.
A bit lightheaded, doesn't it?
I know, I love it. Well, that's what I love about tapping. I was watching a video on tapping yesterday about tapping for weight loss, and I was tapping along anyway, even though the particular things don't bother me anymore. But I was tapping along with the movie, and I'm going, oh, that's what I love about tapping, because you don't even have to. You don't even have to be, you know, emotionally involved with what is being said. But because you're moving the energy around your body anyway, it feels good.
This is the good stuff.
It's just the good stuff. Exactly. Exactly. I love it. Wow. That's our first podcast done.
That is. Well, thanks all for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Indeed. Take care, everybody. Until next week. Bye-bye.